Hi, it's Patrick from J&P Cycles, and today we're here to talk about winterizing or possibly storing your motorcycle for an extended period of time, let's say 3 to 6 months. Not a favorite subject of mine because I'd rather be riding my motorcycle, but here in Anamosa, that time has passed. So, one of the first things I like to do is put some stabilizer in the gas. Now, the Startron stuff here does a lot of things. It's not just a stabilizer. You can use this throughout the year. It helps clean your injectors and or carb parts. This will also stabilize the fuel in your bike for up to 2 years. And another thing it'll do is it keeps the water from separating the gasoline. That's one thing we're trying to get away from in the tank is moisture from separating out of the gas. That's bad. That's gonna cause the gas to start setting up and varnishing. So the first thing I do is add the recommended amount of Startron to my tank. Then if possible, I like to take it for a ride. One, because it's one of the last times I'm gonna get to ride my bike for the winter, but it also helps warm up the bike, circulate the gas through the carb or fuel injection system, and it heats the oil and the transmission and the primary fluid up because we're gonna end up changing those. So if you can, go ahead and ride your bike and then bring it on back into the shop. If not, crack the door open in the shop, let the bike idle for a little bit. That ought to do it. Once we get the bike back in the garage from a ride or just warming it up, we're going to change the fluids. For this particular streak light here, we're going to use this Milwaukee Twins kit because it comes with everything we need. It comes with oil, it comes with transmission fluid, and it comes with primer oil. So for today's fluid changes, we're going to be using a 2008 streak light. Make sure you check your owner's manual or service manuals for the drain plug locations. Most late model baggers are going to be real close to the same, but the transmission and oil drain plugs are going to be close together, so make sure you check your service manuals. Make sure you have the right plug for the right application. You don't want to dump out all your oil when you mean to dump your transmission fluid. So after you've run the bike, you're going to have nice warm oil. It's going to flow out real nice. Pull the dipstick out, pull the drain plug, make sure you have a good drain pan. You're going to need to hold about 4 quarts. Get all the oil out, spin that filter off there. It's going to be a little bit of a messy job, but hey, that's what we're here for, right? Working on motorcycles. Next, we're going to move on to the transmission fluid. Pretty much the same procedure. You're going to pull the dipstick, pull the drain plug. It's going to flow out real nice because it's warm. And primary fluid, drain plug is located on the other side underneath the primary. You'll drop that out, pull that derby cover off, and you'll be able to see the clutch in there real nice. If you're going to do a clutch adjustment, now's a good time to check that. For all of these, we have specific videos. If you've never changed your oil, primary, and tranny fluid, you can go back and we have videos to show you how to do this on these late model style baggers. Also, for you liquid-cooled guys, now's a good time to check that coolant. If you are running just straight water for whatever reason, if you leave your bike in a non-heated environment or outside, it's going to freeze up. So make sure you got your coolant levels 50-50 or whatever your recommended spec is. This is a good time to do that. If you haven't changed your coolant levels, your coolant for a long time, this is also a great time to do that. Coolant can get kind of acidic and erode coolant systems. So if you haven't done that, now's a great time to do that. So after you have all of our fluids changed, we're going to want to wash the bike. Now, if it's warm enough and you were able to take your bike for a ride, you could possibly wash it while you're on the ride. But for a lot of us, it's too cold to go outside and wash the bike. This product from Cycle Care, this Envirogreen bike wash, it's no rinse. It's basically a waterless bike wash. Now that I've said that, you do have to use a couple of gallons of water with a few catfuls of this, but you rub the bike down and there's no rinsing involved. So there's not going to be a big mess in your garage. You don't have to get out a hose and spray it down. This is good stuff. It's a great way to wash your bike. And you're definitely going to want to wash it. You're saying, well, I'm just putting it up. What do I need to wash it for? Well, the road grime and the bugs and the stuff like that that are stuck to the bike, if left on there, they will eat away at painted surfaces, and you're not going to want to leave them like that for, like, say, 3 to 6 months. So it is a good idea to wash your bike before you put it away. Now, from there, we're going to move on to chain maintenance. The bike we're using today doesn't have a chain, it has a belt. So I'll check my belt tension, and then we'll be good. But if I had a chain, I like to clean and wax my chain or lube my chain after I wash the bike so I don't blow any of that off there if I was using like a hose or a power washer. So I'll clean my chain off and I'll use some PJ1 here and we'll lube that chain up so it'll be ready to go in the spring. After that, I will top off my tank one more time. We did ride the bike or run the bike for a little bit, and you want to definitely get all that air out of that tank, so I will top it off a little bit if I've used some fuel from a ride or running it. Now, the next thing we need to address is the battery. You definitely need to put a battery charger or tender or trickle charger or something like that on there. I recommend the Milwaukee Twins one here. It's basically a set it and forget it operation. You're going to put this little lead on the battery. It's going to hang out there and you just simply plug it in. and leave it alone. If you are leaving your bike in a non-heated place or outside, I would take the battery out of the bike. If you can put it inside somewhere you're in your house on a shelf, hooked up to the battery tender. Don't leave it on a concrete floor, that's a no-no. But definitely if you can, take the bike into where it's take the battery into where it's gonna be warm and hook it up to the battery tender. Otherwise, you can just leave it in your bike hooked up to the battery tender. So we're basically through the process. I like to check my air pressure before I put the bike away, make sure it has the correct amount of air in the tires. Even though you're not going anywhere, you want to get them so they're aired up properly. I do also, if possible, like to lift the bike off the ground a little bit. I normally put mine on my lift, slide a flat jack underneath. For this application, we're using our Titan flat jack, and just take some of the pressure off the bike. It unloads the suspension a little bit and takes some of the load off of your tires. Not a deal breaker, but if you have a lift, it's a nice thing to do. One last thing, a lot of people plug their pipes in the wintertime. If you live somewhere where varmints, rats, mice may be looking for a place to spend the winter, your pipes could be a good place. One good way to do that is to take steel wool and lightly put it into the mufflers on your bike. The reason I say use something light like steel wool is because if you forget this, it'll just blow right out when you go to start your bike in the spring. But it always helps to leave yourself a note. If you have any questions on any of this, you can call us on our 800 number, chat with us online, or just leave us a comment here on our YouTube page. And as always, thank you for watching.